is never late, is working all things out. You're working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will. I count on one thing, the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will, not just to praise, to glorify the name of our names, that nothing can stand against. Not just to praise, to glorify the name of our names, that nothing can stand against. Not just to praise, to glorify the name of all names, that nothing can stand against. Not just to praise, to glorify the name of all names, that nothing can stand against. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh, yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will.
And you know, church, the words that we say have power. Can we agree on that today, that the words that we say in this place have power? And that's why we declare things like, yes, I will lift you high. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy. That's why we declare these things, is because it means something to the Almighty Father. And we praise him because he's worthy of it. He's worthy of all of our worship and all of our praise. So come on, as we continue worshiping today, can we declare that with all of our hearts, that he deserves all of our praise and all of our worship today? So found in your name. Found in your name, the power to save, if only your come on, in this moment, would you just lift up our praise to him today? God, we lift up our worship to you. We lift up everything that we have.
We give you the highest praise. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. We give you the highest praise. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. We give you the highest praise. You deserve it all. You deserve
One more time, sing it.
We give you the highest praise. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. You deserve it all.
Amen. Church, you may be seated.
I was kind of waiting for let that run out for the live stream, because what we do this morning is weird. We have live stream, but we don't have here stream. So it's an interesting day in Palm Bay when we start the day with flood warnings and we start the day with traffic advisories. That's not a normal thing in Palm Bay. And did you notice driving in on Emerson there? Did y'all notice that? I mean, you're driving on Emerson, it's like, oh, it's just like a normal rainy day, and you turn and look to the right, and then all of a sudden there's a car submerged in water. And then you look at the next side street, and it's like, oh, somebody just like watered their lawn too much. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's some of the days. Well, I've been up there. We've been working on technology and stuff, and so we're here, and we're going to worship God. Thank you guys for being here and coming out. If you're watching online, I'm glad we were able to make you be able to watch online, because that actually worked. It's amazing when you're working with technology, you get focused on one thing, you realize, oh, wait, this other thing really does work. So then we can do it. So, all right, there we go. Let me tell you about something. About 13 years ago, I believe it was, my wife and I went to the Roxy. Everybody know what the Roxy is? Longtime Palm Bay people, you know what I'm talking about when I say the Roxy? Nobody. Oh, wow. It's a theater, over on Palm Bay, where you could sit down and eat and watch the movie. I don't even know if it's still alive. Is it? No, it's gone. It's gone now. That's why you new people don't know about that. But it was back in the day, you could go and order pizza, and sit down and eat over there. And so it was not the greatest theater, but it was like apparently what I understood, it was a long-time Palm Bay thing. So we went over there and watched this movie called The Social Network. Anyone ever watch that? Social Network. It was actually about the beginnings of Facebook, and you had Jesse Eisenberg played Mark Zuckerberg, and I can't remember the guy that played Eduardo Saverin, but I mean, they were kind of best friends that kind of started Facebook out of just a student, just at Harvard, it was so weird to see all the little we're just going to do it this way type of a thing that happened at the beginning to become this big multi-billion-dollar situation that really started all the craze with social media. I mean, there was social media before then, but it just, with Facebook. And I remember there's a scene in the movie, and if you don't know the plot, I'll tell you, that it turned kind of ugly between friends like it does sometimes, and honestly had a little lot to do with what we're talking about this morning. But, it turned kind of ugly, and Mark Zuckerberg tried to force Eduardo Saverin out, and Eduardo Saverin sued him, and a big part of the movie is them together with their lawyers in this room. And they're giving depositions or whatever it is, but the lawyers are asking each other questions and stuff like that, asking the others questions. And so Mark Zuckerberg's lawyer asked Eduardo Saverin, said, have you ever done anything that would cause disgrace to the company? And he's like, what? No. And so it comes out, and so what he brings up is this article that came out in the school newspaper called The Crimson, accusing Eduardo Saverin of animal cruelty and forced cannibalism. He's like, what? And you come to find out that the story it blew up. It's a big deal, and he had to deal with the people that he completely forgot. He's like, oh my, he's like, you're serious? You're bringing that up? He says, I dealt with the animal rights group. I dealt with the university officials. I dealt with all of these people. That was totally resolved. And what had happened was, as part of his initiation to one of the clubs there, the social clubs, he had to carry a chicken around with him for a week and take care of the chicken. He always had to have the chicken with him. And he happened to be in the cafeteria, and he was eating chicken. And he wasn't thinking about it, and he let the chicken have a piece of chicken. And someone saw it, and they spread this rumor that he was supporting forced cannibalism and being cruel to animals and all this type of stuff. And he's like, I just didn't know. I wasn't thinking. The chicken just took it, okay? Come on. But it's amazing how that works because it came down to it, what actually sunk him. And here it is, this stuff that all went around, and now they're in this multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and this is coming back to him. And what sunk him? It was gossip. It was really just gossip. I mean, we laugh about it, but gossip is a very, very dangerous thing. It really is. Movies use it as their premise. It's the primary conflict driver a lot of times in stories and stuff. We used to have things in newspapers. I don't know if they have them anymore. Gossip columns. We have somebody who knows all the dirt, and they just put all the dirt, and people watch it. They still have things like the National Enquirer and stuff like that in the line when you check out in the grocery store. If you still do that, if you do the, hey, order for me, and you drive your car up and you dump stuff in and take it home, you don't see that as much, but you find it online. All the time. There are rumors from everything, from sports to medicine to politics. Oh my goodness. It's just all over the place. It's so powerful that gossip has actually ruined people's careers and their reputation. People have said something that's not true about someone they didn't know anything about, and all of a sudden they're destroyed and dealing with all this damage. Gossip is a very, very powerful thing. People are so afraid of the effects of it, and they feel so helpless next to its power. Realize this. Some people, I know someone personally who has taken their life because of the rumors were so strong, and they were so afraid of the effects, and they couldn't stand up to it. And they knew that I'm never going to get past this. It's scary. What is gossip? It's always good to tell. Gossip is this, rumor, and let me give you a little bit of here's some definition, classical definitions. It's rumors, unsubstantial information, unsubstantiated information. It's frequently not factual or leading and leads to groundless fears. Here's another definition. It's idle talk which foolishly or maliciously spreads rumors or facts. Wow, you didn't think about that. Spreads rumors or facts. The effects of gossip are divisive and destructive. Here's another one. Sometimes you call someone a gossip. A gossip is a person who spreads rumors or idle, fruitless tales. I got a friend of mine, I was talking to this last week, and he's talking about my brother is really a gossip. He likes to go hear a phrase that I said and then go tell my mom and my other brother something and get them all stirred up. And then they call me and get mad at me, and I call him, and he goes back and tells them, and he just likes to get stuff going. Maybe you know somebody about that. Somebody that's like that. But God has some very harsh things to say about gossip. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing. In most of our lives, so much of the drama in our lives is caused by gossip. And so many times we're in a situation and things are hard and details are difficult. Maybe it's a relationship or something like that, or maybe it's a situation at work, or maybe it's a legal issue or something, or it could be something just small, interpersonal conflict within a family. And what somebody thinks about what happened, oh yeah, I know this happened. You see it on social media all the time. Oh, I know what happens. I see this so much, with Katie being in government, people talk about the school board and stuff like that. And folks, I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody just throws something out there on social media about school board, they probably don't know jack squat about it, even if they seem to be very knowledgeable. Because so many times there's about 15 things that really need to be included in that statement that would totally change what you said and make it completely untrue. But it happens all the time. Everybody wants to be in the know. Even our press and stuff. When you think about Twitter nowadays, or X, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know, or yesteryear, Threads, I don't know. Whatever it is people think that the primary thing now is to be first, not accurate. It used to be accurate and check your sources. Now you want to be the first one there, whether it's accurate or not. And most of the time, it has some other thing. God isn't laughing about gossip at all. You know, he has some strong words about it all the way through the Bible, and it is one of the things that helps to cause the drama that wrecks us. Now, God, has shared stories and wisdoms and prohibitions and about the use of gossip, and that's because it doesn't honor him, and it damages the people that he's created, that he loves, and that he died for. Here's a few things that the Bible said that God inspired the writers of the Bible to share about gossip. Proverbs 16:28 says, a perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends. How many times have you had guys or girls or somebody that were really, really close, and somebody said something and it got in with them and they were really frustrated about it, and all of a sudden they're not close friends anymore? Proverbs 11:13, a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. So you have gossip is here, and on the antithesis of that in that statement is a trustworthy person. Gossips are not trustworthy. Psalm 41:6 says this, but my enemies say nothing but evil about me. This is the psalmist writing here. He said, how soon will he die and be forgotten, they ask. They visit me as if they were my friends, but all the while they gather gossip. You know people like that. I've had people in my life that, I ain't talked to them in like 20 years, or 10 years or 5 years, and all of a sudden they contact you out of the blue, and you realize, oh, yeah, there's something going on you think I know something about. You're just trying to hey, how you doing? How's the family? What about this? You know people like that. Romans 1, Paul writes about it. Look what he groups this. He says, furthermore, in Romans 1:28, it says, furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God. Okay, this is a bad group of people immediately. So God gave them over to a depraved mind so that they do what ought not to be done. All right, so here's this group. And he goes to describe it. He said, they became filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They're full of envy. We talked about it last week. Murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips. Slanderers, God haters. Ow, really? Insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. And then the old ways aren't good enough. We're going to have to find a new way to do it. Invent ways to do evil. They disobey their parents. They have no understanding, no fidelity, no love, no mercy. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. Now, I'm reading those verses. You're probably thinking of people that you know. Look at the product. It's a product of a depraved mind. Do you get that? He said in Leviticus 19:6, God was very clear. He says, do not spread slanderous gossip among your people. Do not stand idly. And listen to this. He said, don't spread gossip, but look at this. Do not stand idly by when your neighbor's life is threatened. So here we're talking about don't spread gossip, and then right behind it talking about your neighbor's life being threatened. And you might think they're not going to be killed because of this, but their outlook, their influence, their relationships, the way they do business, all this stuff can be negatively affected by nastiness of gossip. And God goes so far as to has Moses put it in the law, and he hooked it up with that. The association here is don't stand by and let people's lives be destroyed by gossip. It's not only don't do it, but don't let somebody else do it. See, there's a story in the book of Nehemiah that illustrates a lot about the lessons of gossip. See, Nehemiah was the cupbearer to the king of Persia. And during that time, the Jews were in the Babylonian Persian exile, so they were away. And the temple in Jerusalem had been rebuilt, but the people were disheartened and defenseless there. That Jerusalem was in ruins. And Nehemiah felt God calling him to go and rebuild the walls and structures around Jerusalem. And God used him to do so much more. See, that's kind of how God does it, right? I'll call you to do one thing and then look at all this stuff I did through you. So when Nehemiah arrived at the ruins of Jerusalem, even though he had the blessing and resources of the king of Persia, who said to him, yeah, go ahead, you're a great guy, Nehemiah, go do it, I'll help you out. The neighboring peoples around him were not helpful or kind at all. And one of the worst ones' name was Sanballat. Sanballat. I mean, that just sounds like somebody who is not a good friend. Sanballat. So he was a Samaritan leader and official, and he really gave Nehemiah and the people a hard time. He really, really did. And I want to share this about the story of Sanballat. I'm going to read this here with you. This is in Nehemiah, chapter 6. If you want to follow along with your Bible, the notes are up. If you want to go to baywestchurch.com and /notes, you can pull up the Bible app and type in Bay West Church. Those are there. You can follow along with me. It says, but when word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies, this is Nehemiah writing about it, that I had rebuilt the wall and not a gap was left in it, though up to that time I had not set the doors of the gates. So it's not right. Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message. Come, let us meet together in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. But they were scheming to harm me. It says, so I sent messengers to them with this reply. I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you? In other words, God's called me to do something. I can't leave and go do that. 4 times they sent me the same message. Amazing how that works. 4 times they sent me the same message. And each time I gave them the same answer. Then the 5th time they ramp it up. Sanballat sent his aide to me with the same message. And in his hand was an unsealed letter. In which he was written, it is reported. Somebody's saying, they all saying, it is reported among the nations, and Geshem says it's true. My buddy says it's true. That you and the Jews are plotting to revolt, and therefore you are building the wall. Moreover, according to these reports, you are about to become their king. And not only that, but you have even appointed prophets to make this proclamation about you in Jerusalem. There is a king in Judah. And now this report's going to get back to the king. It will get back to the king. So come, let us meet together. So I sent him this reply. Nothing like what you are saying is true. You're just making that up out of your head. And that's what he told me. You're making that up. You know it. They were all trying to frighten us, thinking their hands will get too weak for the work and it will not be completed. And now I prayed, now strengthened my hands. It says, one day I met with the house of Shemaiah, son of Deliah, and son of Mehetabel. I'm sorry, I'm not flipping on those. Who was shut in at his home. And he said, let us meet together, meet in the house of God inside the temple, and let us close the temple doors because men are coming to kill you, and by night they're coming to kill you. But I said, should a man like me run away? Or should someone like me go to the temple to save his life? I will not go. They wanted me to go quit the job and go do that. And he said, I realized that God had not sent him, but he had prophesied against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. And they're really going all out. Hired a PR firm to take him down. We've never seen that before, have we? He had been hired to intimidate me so that I would commit a sin by doing this. And then they would give me a bad name to discredit me. Now remember Tobiah and Sanballat, my God, because of what they have done. Remember also the prophet Noadiah and how she and the rest of the prophets have been trying to intimidate me. And then he says in 15, so the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul in 52 days. Now I love this. I mean, one of the greatest weapons that Sanballat used against Nehemiah in this story, and possibly the biggest one, was the destructive power of gossip. And the truth is that he not only employed it, but it captured him as well. And we know from the story a few things about gossip. One thing that we know to begin with is gossip is rarely fully accurate. Right off the bat in verse 1, we see the first report of Sanballat received was that all the wall was done. And Nehemiah's going, no, what? And I wasn't even done with this, that, and the other. And so many times you're going to see things, and you maybe been in your life. Somebody said something about you, and they've made all these extrapolations about what you feel and what you are. We see this in the political scene because, everybody that doesn't believe like us politically is an idiot and evil and terrible, and they do horrible things and all that stuff, whether they do or not, right? Because we just 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon over here to this ultimate conclusion of what they will always be. But it wasn't true. And you've got to think, so what? So what if they're finished or not? Why was that a big deal at all? And I'll tell you why. Because nothing ever good comes from a lie. Nothing good ever comes from a lie. So it's not good in our culture these days. People look at what they want to happen and they'll say whatever is necessary, true or not, to achieve the desired result. And that's wrong. Often, even if we think the desired result is a good thing, if you get there the wrong way, you've tainted whatever good you're going to do. You've unleashed more evil into the world, and it's just not worth it. Often, it's gossip that is used most of all. We see that in local politics all the time. Didn't take much. You get a robocall here, you get something there, you get somebody put something out on Facebook, and it's just nastiness, man. It's got no place for it. You know, you may see it often. It's a prevailing strategy in media or in entertainment, or it may be in your school or your workplace, and you've probably either seen or been a victim of some sort of lie or gossip. But gossip is rarely fully accurate. Why not I just say it's inaccurate? Because if you remember one of those definitions I shared with you, that it might be rumors or it might be facts that are spread in a malicious way. Usually gossip has to include some degree of truth to make it believable. And that's why that's where you get the term half-truth. But we don't know what a half-truth is. Half-truth is a whole lie, right? Because you're just telling one side of it. Because gossip always has an agenda. It's usually spun one way for the benefit of whoever's telling it. Look at the stuff that they're telling. Hey, look at Sanballat. He's like making all that way. The king's going to hear it and all this, and I've heard all this. And he's just like piling this stuff on. You know, and let me just 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Let me move this on over, move it closer. You ever played that stuff? Maybe you know what 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon is? Yeah. It's the game where, you know, every actor in Hollywood is connected to Kevin Bacon in some way. And you go, Kevin Bacon was in this movie with this person, and that person was in this movie with this person, and that person was in this movie with this person, and then within 7 degrees away, he'll be connected to them some way. And a lot of times that's how we extrapolate out gossip. Oh, well, this, and it must be that. And I heard this, and we just inch our way along. And that's what was going on. Sanballat was perpetuating the gossip in an attempt to destroy Nehemiah and his people, to prevent them from rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem. He had a malicious purpose. He didn't care about the king or the order. He just cared about Sanballat and Sanballat stuff. And that's what gossips usually do. Because the other thing is this: gossip is never positive. You notice that? I've never heard gossip about a good thing. Even if someone tells something that might be, in some light, good news, it's always with some sort of negative slant that's meant to gain an advantage one way or the other by the person who's telling it. Even if it's just like, I want you to think I'm cool because I'm in the know. Don't be roped in by that. Even if it's meant to be truthful. It isn't meant to be truthful, it's meant to be effective. And there are two different things often, and you have to watch out for that. The other thing is gossip emotionally manipulates people. Gossip's always meant to elicit something emotional from someone or gain an emotional benefit for the person telling it. Gossip usually aims at the targets of vulnerable and destructive emotional outcomes. And it's usually aimed at targets like greed or hate or self-worth or intimidation or fear. You look back at verse 10. You know, Nehemiah wrote about Shemaiah and how he visited him, and he was trying to scare Nehemiah to get him to go hide in the temple and avoid the work because there were people coming to kill him. You know, so they all saying, people are coming to kill you. Does that sound familiar? You know, that would have required Nehemiah to abandon his post and assignment God has given him, something that he said was a sin. They were trying to get me to commit a sin and stop what God was telling me to do by this fear that's out here. Solomon wrote in Proverbs 17, said, wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip, and liars pay close attention to slander. See, gossip leads to temptation to sin. That's just fact, man. Gossip just attracts sin. Wrongdoers just want to come to it. And it plays to the worst part of our hearts. It just does. It's more than you believe. It taints everyone and everything it touches. Look at people who participated in the lies here. You had Sanballat, and you had all his buddies, and you had the other leaders and the enemies over there. You had people who carried the message. Maybe they had to carry a message that wasn't true. You know, Shemaiah the same way. He had to carry a message that wasn't true. You know, look at all the names of the people here. Some had to perpetuate a lie. Some had to lie to be a part of it. And I'm going to tell you what, it can attack a church as well. Listen to I want you to remember this, don't remember anything else. Gossip is the cancer of the church. That's what God specifically tells people. You need to have relationships with people in the church. You need to be, if you have a problem with someone or you think someone's sinned against you, you need to go to them and you need to approach them quickly, privately, immediately, with the idea of, I want to work this out and us be cool and be back together. And so often that is the temptation, is I don't want to go talk to them. I want to go talk to somebody else about them because that's easier. And I'm going to tell you, that's a terrible, terrible thing, because here's what happens. You go talk to somebody else about it and you let off the steam, because part of the urgency that's going on in your heart is that you need to resolve that. But you go talk to somebody else, and they're like, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they're idiots. No. And you tell your side of the story. You don't tell their side. And then all this stuff. And then you're like, okay, pressure's let off. I can go back into the world. But it's not totally let off. It's like an ember that has died down, and it's just sitting there in the belly of your stomach. And the next time, every time that person does something, because you've not resolved that conflict with them, you see everything that they do in the light of the ember that's burning inside of you. And when it gets close to that, it just flares up. And it starts it all over again. And you don't start from ground zero mad. You start from where you were mad when this whole thing started. And we go back, and what do we do then? Oh, I'm going to go fuss at somebody else about it. I can't believe they're still doing that. That's driving me crazy. Blah, 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 right? And then we get there, and it dies back down. And the next time, it flares back up. And now we're starting really mad from here. And before you know it, probably the first time we say anything to anybody, we're just like, I can't believe you're an idiot. Whoo! And I know you did this, and you were thinking this, and you were doing this, and I know you meant that, and you meant this, and blah, 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 and we have gossiped ourselves into ending a relationship with someone when, truthfully, none of that stuff might not have been true. Probably 90% of it, what? But we just build it all up. And that's what we do. I love it. Proverbs 26 says this. He says, without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. In the middle of a fight, there's always somebody picking somebody going. It says, as charcoal to embers and as wood to a fire, so is a quarrelsome person for kindling strife. You have a quarrel or a fight going on, I'll be talking about it and slanting it. They'll be on someone's side, be talking about it, slanting it to one side or another. I've seen it in politics all the time. You see it with Democrats and Republicans and independents. They take a word or a phrase and deconstruct it 1,000,000 times to the point that they have a perfectly normal person as some sort of axe murderer set on world domination, and 95% of their reasoning is based on something they heard someone say who doesn't know jack squat, and they just heard somebody else say it, and then they heard somebody else say it, and everybody added their own thing to it in their little own game of telephone, and by the time it got to the end, it's this horrible thing, and everyone's accepting it as fact. And start doing like with the embers. They're not starting down at ground zero with somebody. Every interaction is starting at fired up here. Maybe that's been you. You met somebody and they've been fussing, angry with you, and you're just like, why are you angry with me? Well, you doing all this, and they have all this baggage of stuff that you never even knew. You got to be careful with gossip, because gossip always grows and it always gets worse. And look at this story. And it went not only had Nehemiah built the whole wall, which is false, but look how he built the story. He said, now you're rebuilding the wall so you can rebel against the king of Persia. And I'm telling this story that not only that, but he's graciously funded you. You're stabbing him in the back because you want to be the king, and you're having yourself proclaimed king. And you're hiring priests and religious people and creating your own little cult to kind of tell people that you're the king, right? And Nehemiah said it in verse 13 that the plan was to give him a bad name and discredit him. I mean, for Pete's sake, that could be a political speech these days. Just about any politician you want to know. The most frustrating and most popular political strategy that's out there these days is start in one place, saying one little thing about someone, and then inch it along every time you repeat it, until truth is accepted as toward the worst possible outcome, until that's accepted as absolute fact. You play your own version of that telephone game, and every time you repeat it, it gets more preposterous, and by the end of it, you have the accepted fact that someone's like a lizard person out there from Venus trying to rule the world. That's crazy. But we do this, and we allow it, and we participate in it, and we see it, and we say, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go read that. And then we let that into our brain. It plays on the sinful desires that we have, and it's almost like living vicariously through someone else. We can hoodwink ourselves into believing I'm not really doing that. I'm just kind of standing to the side while they're doing it, so I'm getting some of the normal enjoyment that they're getting from it, I think, but really the sin is infecting you. You're not detached from it. You're connected to it. The only thing worse than a person who tells gossip really is the person who readily listens to it. Don't give it a place, because in this story, the details get worse. It just grows. It grows in the size of audience. It's not just Sanballat and his buddies, but his buddies, and then it's friends, and then it's Shemaiah, and it's all these people. Now I'm going to go tell the king and everybody that needs. It's got like 4 months travel away. They're going to have to tell somebody to go tell him, so somebody's going to have to relay that message. So it just gets bigger and bigger. And the destructive power, it grows in that as well. As longer it goes, if a king heard or he believed that life, he heard that king of Persia, he would come and attack, probably. Nehemiah, if he didn't have the foresight to go check that out with him and just crush all those people. The damage grows. It grows in shelf life because it attaches to things. Remember what I was talking about? You know, when you got a conflict with somebody, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to tell them my side of this person who didn't know anything about them, and I'm going to tell them that side of the story, or maybe they partially know them or something like that. I'm going to tell them this side of the story. Let me give you, this is how it goes. Let's say that I think Anthony doesn't like to worship in church. And I go tell somebody, well, you know, Anthony, he doesn't like to worship, man. He just doesn't. That's a total mess, but you know, it is. So I go tell that to somebody. Totally false, but I say that to someone. And I put my reputation behind it because I bring myself into it, just like you do. And it carries whatever weight that brings with the person. And let's say you look out and you look over on Sunday, and Anthony's over there, and he's kind of like this, and he's not feeling really good. You don't know he's been sick the night before. He's been up all night, but doggone it, he loves to worship Jesus, so he came out here. But he looks like he's not enjoying himself in the move. And usually says, you know what Jim said? He doesn't like to worship. I wonder if Anthony has a problem with Jesus. You know, and there it goes. Before you know it, it spreads. See, it attaches, and its shelf life goes because it just restarts with another thing, and it just attaches to everything you think about the person. And it's hard to, once that's thrown into the mix of your brain, to detach that, and it causes problems. Even and maybe it's also done by your own personal preference, because you look at someone, let's say in this situation, you look at, I know how I would look if I like to be at worship. Well, you don't know how Anthony's going to look. You know what's going on in Anthony's heart, Anthony's head. You know what's going on there. That's not fair, right? That's crazy. We can't impose our personal preferences on top of other people in an absolute way of abstracting who they are and what they are. That's why God left us the Bible, and God left us instructions and the Holy Spirit to move us in that way. And we can't step out of that, because when we step outside of that to follow sin, we're already in an issue. It's going to cause problems somewhere. And it does damage to the doer. You know, Solomon warns in Proverbs that it can cause you to lose your reputation. It says, don't gossip, because you'll be found out, and then your reputation will you'll never regain your reputation again. If you gossip, everyone knows you gossip. They know you'll tell. You know, if you think they trust you. I've seen people, and I know good and well, that they've told people stuff because they know that person's going to tell everybody. That's one of the downsides of being part of, you know, in political stuff. I know why they told them that. They told them that because they're going to run tell everybody. And I didn't say it. But they went and told everybody. I didn't gossip, but I started it, and I knew it would spread. And people will do that. But here's the good thing about all this. That sounds pretty tough, and I probably hit everybody in here, including myself. I was telling the guys today, I was like, man, I'm sitting here going, I'm looking at trade rumors, and I'm studying for this for the Mavericks, so they're going to pick anybody up, and I'm going, wait a minute, that's gossip. Girl, I had no idea. Dadgummit. And so you begin to think, you know, what are you doing? But here's the deal. This is the great thing, okay? God is still greater than gossip. He just is. He absolutely is. Nehemiah finished his job. Gossip didn't stop it. Also, in fact, it was done faster than it was expected. He was proud of that. It was done in 52 days. Put that sucker back together. That was great. God is greater than gossip. God always works for the right thing. Gossip doesn't. God told the prophet Isaiah this. He said, only I can tell you the future before it even happens. Everything I plan will come to pass, for I do whatever I wish. And there is no one ever outside of God that could say that statement and it be true. Because he does. God always ends up with what he planned. Gossip, like all sin, ends up with a load of unrelated and unexpected and unintended consequences often. I don't have to protect my reputation against gossip. That's something my wife has taught me. I don't have to do that because God tells me in Psalm 135 that that's his job. He's my protector. You know, he will vindicate his people, is what it says. In 2 Thessalonians, Paul reminds us that God is faithful. He will establish you, and he will guard you against the evil one. My job is not to protect myself from gossip. My job is to make sure, as far as the area of gossip goes, that I avoid it. And how do I do that? I'm going to give you a few things real quick. It's about avoiding gossip. I'm going to give you some diagnostic questions. You can check this out on the stream later. I'm going to go really quick because we're running a little bit late. Sorry about that. Am I telling ask yourself this. Am I telling anything I know to be false? or that I don't personally know to be true as fact. That's number one. Do I even know enough about the story to tell it accurately? That I personally know. Is God leading me to tell it? Or you could think about it this way. Would God be happy with me if I said it? Lastly, will any part of what I'm about to say or the way I'm about to say it possibly give a false impression to whoever listens? And is my bias leading that internally? And those are some hard questions to ask, but before we tell anything, that's what we should say. And we should answer those honestly. And we should ask God, oh God, David said, search me, oh God, know my heart, because he's the only one that does. So Holy Spirit, please, as I ask these questions, you tell me. I'm not going to answer. You tell me what's going on here, and be brutally honest with me, please. Here's some action steps for you about gossip. Tell the truth. That's crazy, right? You guys say tell the truth. I know you guys all know that, but make a distinction between facts and opinions. Don't tell an opinion like it's a fact. And second thing is here, if it's not your story, then don't repeat it. We don't need to know everything. Never betray a confidence or your word. I mean, this is what I tell people sometimes. If they say, hey, I'm going to tell you something, but don't tell anybody. This is you, and you. Some of you guys probably heard me say this before. I said, if you trust me to tell you, if you trust me enough to tell me, then you're going to trust me to do what's right with it. Because the fact is this: if you trust me, if you tell me something, I'm going to go out and hurt somebody, or I'm going to go injure somebody, I'm going to injure myself. I'm not keeping that confidence. I'm not going to do that because that's not what's best. But I will do what's right with it as much as I can with that. It makes and so that's what's up. But the third thing here is if you weren't there, accept that you don't know part of it. We don't need to be experts on everything. Often gossip comes from someone seeking approval or personal gratification by the acceptance of another person. It makes it too easy to shade your versions of the facts to that person that you're speaking to in an effort to gain approval. If you tell the story one way to one person and one way to another person, you are in danger right there. And you don't need to tell it to anybody. Or you need to help somebody, get somebody to help you tell it that already knows it. If God's leading you to tell it. Number 4, don't simply repeat other people's interpretation of the situation. And in fact, avoid that if you can. And if you need to know, which you may not need to know, then you find out. Here's the last couple. If someone tries to give you gossip, graciously decline to hear it. I've done that before. Somebody starts telling me something, I'm like, well, let me stop you right there because that's not for me. I don't know. That's for them. If you think they're in sin or something like that, then you need to go talk to them. That's not me. Just because I'm the pastor doesn't make it I'm supposed to go track everybody down. There's a Matthew 18. There's steps there. First of them starts with don't tell anybody but the person. You go work it out. That's how it works. And number 6 is this. If you've heard gossip and you've already taken it in, best thing you can do is don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. Stop the cycle with you because gossip lives off of people repeating over and over and over again. I mean, it's not a coincidence that I started with this sermon with a story about social media because that's one of the largest pots of gossip and the easiest way to share it of anything I know. You put something on a pretty website, or you make a pretty post with a graphic, and it looks like it's professional, so it must be true. So I'm going to share it. Check it out. Ask God if you need to. Be that way. I mean, the truth, and in fact, most of the movie, as it was portrayed, over and over, the central problem in that movie was gossip. And what led from there, the conflict it caused, and it almost destroyed Facebook before it ever began. We must avoid gossip in the workplace, in our family, with our friends, because it will destroy us. It will wreck us. But we need to wreck the drama and let it go. God deals in truth. He knows it all, and I don't have to. He can take care of it all, instruct me on how to act when I need to act, much more than anyone else or any source or any person that I'm following on X or whatever, or Threads or whatever it is, or the person at the office that really knows. Even if they give you information and they're privy to the details, here's things. Wisdom is what to do with information. It's not just enough to have it, so you need to be consulting God first to know what you need to do. But we need to stay close to God specifically, especially in this world that is so filled with dangerous things. We need to listen to him like Nehemiah did when he sniffed out Shemaiah. And God will protect you from, I can't tell you how many times God said when somebody comes to say something and I'm like, whoa, and they seem like they know, and all of a sudden I realize I'm in that situation, back up, and God's like, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Nope, stop. Nope, don't want to hear it. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to unfollow you. I'm not listening to that. God said something to me, and the Holy Spirit will move you in that way, and it will protect you from and frustrate the sand ballots in your life, and still he will lift you up. Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for all you're doing. We thank you for your love and your compassion, God. We care so deeply about what you're doing for us and to help us. And God, we thank you that you are the great and mighty God that is good and kind to us. Lord, we're thankful that you deal in truth, and you know the truth, and you are truth, and you're the source of all truth for us. And you will help us to know what to believe and what to say and how to respond, even in times that we couldn't have possibly any information that would share that or that would make that real for us. So God, help us as we go, help us as we move each day in and out of our lives. And help us to honor you in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
And as he said, something convicting all of us that we would be members of the body that speak truth. Once again, church, I want to remind you our prayer team's in the back if you have anything you want to pray for. And as Pastor Jim said, sometimes prayer could lead that seed where it becomes gossip, but not that, but that would be freed from us, that our prayers would be one of sincere heart, one of truth. And our prayer team's in the back. If you have any, you could also text that number 321-345-3292. And there's, for tithes and offering, there's a drop box in the box. There's a drop box in the back. And you can also give online at baywestchurch.com/give. There is a number you can text, but I did not memorize that number yet. No, the number you can text any amount to.
84321.
84321. Text any amount to that number. Somebody knew it. Look at the body of God. That's a body working together.
That's right.
Different members.
Yes, 84321.
There you go. And with that being said, worship team will pray us out.
So come on, let's sing We Give. We give you the heart.